right. Welcome to the experiment. Here we are, a Monday morning. So here's how we do this. I start with some introduction so that you know what's going on, although you still might not know what's going on after the introduction. We'll find out. And then we will do several experiments. This whole hour is about having vulnerability with yourself. So it's not about sharing with others, or that's not required, is the point of me saying this. You'll have several opportunities where I will invite you to either ask a question to get clarification or to share your experience. That's completely up to you if you want to do that or not. Please do share if you feel like it's right to share. Don't share if you're just trying to save me. I'm totally fine with quiet. Um, the experiment, in my experience, is a weird thing. It is weird for many reasons. And I should say this, I don't think I say this enough on this call. I love weird things. So weird is a celebration when I say it. It's weird in this way. I already said this is about having vulnerability with yourself. Another way that this is weird is you cannot do it wrong. There's no doing it wrong during this time on this call or any time. You cannot do it wrong. And this is what I mean when I say that. This is one of the things I mean when I say that. The experiment is simply an invitation to feel what you're feeling right now. And when I say you can't do it wrong, one of the things I mean by that is we are born feeling feelings. At least I don't know of a baby that was born able to express words. And I've decided in my head, although I don't know it's true, that I don't think we're born necessarily with thoughts that are formed around words. We are born with the ability to feel our feelings, and that doesn't go away. We just may or may not be connected to that. But we are feeling feelings, whether or not we're aware of it. So you can't do it wrong. Another reason that this is weird, let me put my glass on. Oh, amazing. Here you are. Is at least for me during my life, when I have thought about or talked about feeling my feelings, my brain often went to one of three places. One is, oh, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to stuff it. So, and that's what many of us do is we stuff it or we repress our feelings. A second thing is escape from it. Oh, I don't know if I can feel that way, or I don't have time for that, or I'm not interested, or that's too big, or that's too scary. Or I also have done this on positive feelings. It hasn't occurred to me that, maybe I should experience it. So I would also kind of escape from it. The third thing that at least I was trained to do, and I think many people are trained to do, is to express or talk about our feelings. And what I find utterly weird about the experiment is it's not about talking about our feelings. It's not about running away from them or pushing them down. But the especially odd thing is it's not about talking about them. It's simply about feeling them. And always about feeling whatever is there and available right now in the moment. Here on this call, I've started calling this the lab for the experiment. And the reason I'm calling it the lab is I'm going to offer up some invitations to feel your feelings around specific things as a way to practice this and talk about it, experience it together with other people. I might invite you to feel your feelings on topic A and your brain or your feelings go to topic B. That's perfect. That's another reason that this is weird is you do not have to follow along with a damn thing I say on this call. As a matter of fact, I would be overjoyed if at some point it feels so cool to feel your feelings that you turn the volume down on me. If you want to, turn the camera off on yourself, that's even absolutely welcome because what you're feeling may be so interesting that you don't want to interact with the other folks on the call. Again, I think that's weird. I think it's awesome. Dream come true for me. If you become so interesting to you that you just want to hang out with you. Let me see if there's a couple other things. Oh, and other practice. A lot of people who have come to this call talk about the experiment as being kind of like meditation or mindfulness. I also experience it that way. I don't know if everybody does. One thing that makes the experiment weird is that in a lot of meditation or mindfulness practices, you're encouraged to notice your thoughts and ignore them or let them pass by. In the experiment, there is no requirement for that, because I discovered, or the experiment discovered me. And every time in my life that I have been invited to ignore my thoughts, what that has instantly caused is my thoughts to wrestle me to the ground and sit on my chest. So in this work, you do not have to ignore your thoughts. Your work is simply to think your thoughts and feel the feelings that come with them. And that might be your own thoughts. It might be the thoughts other people are expressing. For example, when I'm sitting in an EOS session and my clients are talking when they're IDSing, not always, but I will often feel the feeling of what they're saying. I'm getting the thoughts, I'm getting the ideas, I'm getting all the images, or I have in my head. I don't know about you, but it's kind of like, well, I don't listen to DJs so much anymore. But back in the day when I used to listen to the radio, I always had an idea in my head of what the DJ looked like. I've noticed that when my clients talk about their people on their team, I get an idea in my head of what the person looks like, right? So I'm hearing the words, I'm seeing the image of this person, this not right person on the team. I can see that in my head. Now I also feel the feeling of the words that they're saying. And I'm bringing this up to say it might be your own thoughts, or might be the words or thoughts of other people. There's a blue jay that just showed up in my window at this moment. I wonder why. The experiment is simply about feeling the feeling of what you're feeling, or it might be the thoughts that are showing up. One more thing I want to say before I invite you to try the experiment is this. Um, in my experience, the experiment is custom built for you by you. And this is what I mean. Soon, when I invite you to try an experiment, I might say again, try an experiment on A, and your thoughts or your feelings go somewhere else. It's perfect. That is perfect. This is truly, truly all it is an invitation to feel whatever you are feeling right now. And when I say this is custom built for you by you, what I have come to believe is your next feeling is presented to you by you in the most perfect order of something to experience. Um, my my only metaphor for this, and it's inelegant, but it is the one I have, is that our feelings are lined up like people that are in line at the bathroom during, like, in between innings. At a baseball game. I'm going to get all this right. Or in between quarters at a football game, or in between periods at a hockey game, right? There's a whole bunch of people. Thank you. I think I got them all right. Okay, good. Go me. I don't know. Are there in betweens at lacrosse or rugby? I should probably learn that. Anyway, whatever. Okay, I got those right. Just quit while your head's here. So the people are lined up in the bathroom in the right order, right? In the order in which they arrived. Your work in the experiment is simply to be available to the next person in line. And the way I like to talk about this is this. The feelings are there. They're wanting to be felt. They might come with thoughts. The thoughts are wanting to be felt. It is your work simply to feel the next one that is in line. It is not your work to say, oh, I see you. Now move on. If you do that with your feelings, meaning by expressing them, repressing them, or escaping from them, they're going to go pee on someone. And it might be you, it might be the dog, it might be your family, it might be your client, it might be your physical health. So your work, that your feelings have lined up perfectly. It is your work to simply feel what is next. You might experience what I do. I'm guessing you will. Sometimes you feel whatever one is right there, and then like the next 10 just like go away, and you're off to a new thing to feel. And that's perfect. It is what this work is. It is an invitation to feel what you're feeling right now and to feel it all the way. And the way I define feeling something all the way is there's a new feeling to feel, or a new thought bumps into your head. So it's not about this concept of, well, I have to feel it. This is a really big one. I'm going to have to feel it for 20 minutes. Oh, this is a little one. I'll just feel it for 2 minutes, something like that. It's not how it works. You feel the feeling until there's nothing left to felt, to feel. And the way I know there's nothing left to feel is there's a new thing that you're feeling. Or in my case, often a new thought that has popped into my head, a new invitation to feel. So that's the setup. That may or may not make sense to you. Here's when it does make sense. Let's just do an experiment. So here's how this will work. I'm going to make an invitation to feel something. You will either feel that or you'll feel something else. For example, what you might feel is, oh, shoot, this is not working. Awesome. Feel this is not working. Or, oh, I think I'm doing it wrong. Awesome. Feel the sensation of, I'm doing this wrong. Or, Sarah didn't explain this very well. Perfect. Feel the feeling of, Sarah didn't explain this very well. Whatever is there is what is there for you to feel. Here, however, is the first invitation. I'm going to get a timer going because we're going to do these for a minute or two or three or four or five. We'll see what happens. Here's an invitation. This came to me over the weekend. I invite you to feel something in politics that makes you uncomfortable. Feel the feeling of that. And again, this is about vulnerability with yourself. You don't have to share with anybody what it is you're feeling, but identify something you're uncomfortable with in politics and feel the feeling of it. We're going to do this one for 1 minute, starting now. Ooh, that was loud. I don't know if it was as loud for you as it was for me. That was 1 minute of feeling something in politics that you're uncomfortable with. Who has a question about that or an experience they'd like to share that they feel like sharing? Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. For me, that felt like actually had to check the timer. I always do these experiments on the call. I don't just sit here and let you do it. I do it. It was like, did I not set the timer? Because it felt like 20 minutes. Maybe for you it was quick. Maybe it was short. Maybe it was long. Thank you for sharing that. My any other sharing? Okay. I love that you shared that because after I made this first invitation, it came to me to do exactly what you just said, which was feel other people's discomfort. And I don't mean take it on, I just mean experience it, feel any discomfort others around you might have. And I'm making a really broad brush here about things in politics. So, whatever that might be, everything from voting to opinions on um, coming up in Minneapolis is a person running for mayor who wants to increase minimum wage, right? So anything in that world. So here's the invitation is a minute to feel other people's discomfort with anything in politics. And we'll do a minute for that one too, which may or may not feel like 20. We'll find out. Oh, gotta turn that down. I don't know how to turn that down. Okay, from that experiment, who has a question or something they'd like to share? I'm going to say I could have used that one over the weekend and didn't. I think that must be why it showed up for me. Oh, that might have been a good tool. Mm, okay, let's try another one. Um, mm, Here's the invitation. We'll do this one for 2 minutes. Feel a part of your body that is tense. Feel the tenseness, which is a word now. All right. Feel a part of your body that is tense and feel that tension until you don't or continue to. We'll do this for 2 minutes. That was 2 minutes of feeling a part or parts of your body that are tense. Who has a question or an experience they'd like to share? Thank you. That is the perfect example of when I say um, you cannot do it wrong, and then I try to explain what I mean about you can't do it wrong. Thank you. That is what I'm talking about. You can have tension in your neck and then stretch it because that would feel better. Yes, thank you. I had an experience where the tension went away and then I was like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be feeling tension. So then I moved so I could find some tension. So I kind of did the opposite version of the same thing. So that directive of you can't do it wrong is probably more for me than it is for anybody else on the call. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mm. I I host this lab, which I'm thinking of renaming the experiment lab every week with the hope, and I host the 3 hour versions with the hope that people can take this work into their day-to-day life. And that feeling of tension, or even the feeling of discomfort around anything, including politics or other people's discomfort, can be a thing you can use in your day-to-day life. So all of these labs are invitations to pull this into your life at the day to day, walking down the street, driving the car, sitting in a session, preparing for a session, reflecting on a session, sitting with friends, sitting with family, sitting with yourself. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And we want to suppress it or escape from it by making a harsh. I didn't mean to say harsh, but I guess sometimes it is harsh in focus day, a harsh decision. I meant to say rash decision, but I said harsh, right? So I, as an implementer, sometimes want to just get through the hard part, or I see my clients wanting to do it. And my gosh, it's the worst when I want to do it and they want to do it. Yeah. So feel how uncomfortable this is. And with that comes too an invitation to feel how uncomfortable it is without making these decisions too. Yeah. Thank you for that. I'm going to offer into, now I have not used this for a focus day, but I did recently use it for a first quarterly where my client still didn't have their core focus nailed down. Their 3-year picture was still not quite clear. And so I spent some time doing the experiment beforehand, simply feeling my own discomfort with what a bad implementer I am because my client is behind, right? And so I sat and felt the feeling of that. And then I spent some time feeling them as a team too. And that is an invitation I want to offer. Actually, here, let's do this invitation. Think about, so you have a focus day, you can pick that client or any client. Kind of cool to do a client you don't really know yet. Yeah, you've only had a 90. Think of a client that the first client that comes to mind. Trust that the first client that comes to mind. Let's do a 2-minute of simply feeling that client. And you get to choose the definition of that. I would not recommend feeling with your hands. Ha ha. Oh, Sarah, you're so funny. No, I mean, feel this client. It might be that you choose to think about or feel the visionary or the integrator, or maybe the entire leadership team, or a specific member of the team, or maybe you feel the entire company. Trust where your mind goes, trust where your feelings go, that's the perfect thing to feel about that client. And we're going to do a little longer one. You may experience that you stay with that person or that team or that entire company, or you might find that you start wandering around. My invitation to you is to trust. Again, whatever shows up next is perfect. You may end up wandering down hallways in that client. You may end up wandering around teams. You may end up wandering to another team or something else altogether. Trust that whatever that next thing is that shows up is that perfect next person in line. We're going to do 3 minutes on this, starting with the invitation to feel whatever client came to mind first and whatever part of that client came first. All right. That was 3 minutes on that experiment. Who has a question on that one or an experience they want to share? I am stunned by which client showed up for me. So feel compelled to share that. It was a client that graduated years ago. I don't know why they showed up, but here they did. I learned a lot. Unexpected. Super unexpected. Mm. Thank you. Ooh, I have goosebumps on my legs. I don't often get goosebumps on my legs. That's fun. Ooh. Mm. I'm never quite sure if it's helpful if I share my experiences. I did this in preparation for a client recently the night before, which I usually do my prep in the morning, but I did it the night before. And my brain went to a specific room in their building. And it was like there was this dark kind of dead zone there. And I didn't say to my client, I was feeling my feelings about you last night and I went to this specific room. I didn't say that because I don't know. I'm not prepared to be that weird in my session room. Maybe I should go for it. But it just gave me this little information. And I know that there's a person who works in that part of the company. Didn't even ask a question. That name came up the next day. Don't know what that means. I don't have any answers other than to say, boy, did that feel worth it. And it was probably 2 minutes. I didn't set a timer, but it was a very short, just feel the feeling of the client. Oh gosh, there's something there. And I had made a note, like I might ask about the finance area because that was that part of the company. I might ask, curious. It had nothing to go on, but just this 2 or 3 minutes that I spent. I'm not suggesting I was given facts, but I was given information. That's what to me the experiment is. It's you get some information about yourself. Yeah. Mm. Thank you for that. I want to say this too. And I've said this before on this call, and I still don't feel like I have the best words to describe what I'm saying, but I'm going to use the ones I have. When I use the experiment, as I mentioned earlier, in other times when I tried to do meditation or mindfulness and all the thoughts came and crashed all over me, um, I have less of that now from doing the experiment. It's still there, very much there. And there are times when a thought shows up that feels different than my own thought. It has a different texture, is the only language I've been able to get close to, but that doesn't even feel like it's just like a thought that comes not necessarily from me. It's a hunch or an inspiration or an insight. It's different than Sarah can't settle down and her thoughts are just spinning around. That's and what I've learned is other people who do the experiment will have similar experiences where there is this sort of stroke of inspiration or a hunch or say that's what this thing was like about this like this part of their business where the accounting or finance admin team sits. It didn't feel like it was me coming to a conclusion or having a thought or knowing anything. We've never talked about that team. So I'm bringing this up to say there may be moments in the lab here today or other times when you're doing the experiment where something shows up like that. It might feel like this too. When I said, think of a client, just trust whichever one shows up. This client that graduated years ago showed up for me. Why did they show up? I don't know. I just went with that. That wasn't me. If I had picked, I would think of the client I'm seeing tomorrow. That would be the one that makes sense. Okay, I'm using all these words. Hopefully, this is helpful to try to say this. There are times when I'm doing the experiment, I believe for you also, when you're feeling your feelings, that an inspiration, a thought, a hunch will show up. And my practice and my invitation to you is to do something with that. And when I say do, I don't think do is the right word, but I don't have a better word. So there are a couple things. One is when that shows up, feel the feeling of that inspiration, then go with it. For example, I was feeling the feeling of this client. I got this like dark zone or something, and I was like, huh, what's that? So then I felt the feeling of this darkness in the client. It's like, oh, that doesn't feel like me. I'm going to feel the feeling of that darkness. Then it felt like there was a little more information in there. So that's one of the things. When you get these inspirations or these hunches, feel the feeling then of the hunch. Second option is go with it. For example, when I said feel the feeling of a client, go with whatever's there, no one was going to get hurt, I think, if you just went with it. Certainly no one got hurt because I went with a client that graduated years ago. In zero situations when I had a hunch or I had this feeling and I trusted there's never been a problem. So I'm just playing a game in my life. Do what it says. It's never said drive your car into the side of a building. It's never said, throw this at somebody's eyeball, right? Like it never says something mean. So I'm just playing a game called follow the lead and see what happens. Okay, that was a whole bunch of words, hopefully not too many, to say I'm enjoying playing the game called trust those things, called go with those things. And in the end, that's what the experiment is. It's follow the lead or feel the feeling of whatever shows up here. That's like the first version of that is whatever shows up, you feel the feeling of that thing that is shown up. Oh, that was a lot of words. Someday I'm going to learn how to say that more succinctly. Okay. That day is not here yet. Okay, what time is it? Oh my gosh, we have time. Okay. Here's the invitation. You'll see, inspired by this last moment. Feel the feeling of a person you've tried to explain something to or try to like connect to, and it doesn't feel like it's gone well. And this could be a person in the gas station. This could be a person you're married to. It could be a person you're the parent of or is the parent of you, right? Any person, you just feel like you've tried to make a connection with them, tried to explain your viewpoint, and that connection just hasn't quite clicked. Feel the feeling of the not quite clicked. And we'll do that for a minute. Okay, that was that experiment for a minute. What is a question or an experience they want to share from that one? Oh boy, this one feels really big. Because I had a similar thing that it came back around to me. We all three had that it came back to me. Wow. Um, mm. Okay, I feel compelled to share this. I'm reading a book. I just finished it last night that suggests that the whole world is designed to invite us back to ourselves. And so this is just resonating like crazy that all three of us came back to ourselves in this particular experiment. Um, and the reason I feel compelled to keep showing up for this call on Mondays and keep talking about the experiment and sharing it with people is I do feel like in the end, that is the only, not the only, I don't want to say it that way. It's such a beautiful invitation to come back to ourselves and go deeper inside. I've been playing with the word recess lately, how it has two, well, I'm going to focus on two of the meanings of the word recess. One is go out and play and have fun, and it's not structured, and there are no rules, or the rules get made up and then they go away, right? Thinking about, at least when I went to recess as a kid, you might play the most amazing game ever, and you play it for one recess and then it's gone. You just make up the rules, and because there happened to be chalk that day, and you play that game and then you never play it again, or you never play it with the same people, or it's never quite the same, or the concrete's never as wet and the chalk didn't work as well, right? Like it's gone. Then the other definition of recess is going inward, or a recess in a room, or so recessing into yourself. And I just want to throw out this invitation brought all three of us to recess here when it seemed like it was about this other person. I just said a whole bunch of words. Those might have all been for me. Thank you for listening. When I reminded myself of the importance of this. Okay, let's do like a double tap on that one. The invitation, I think, was feel the feeling of not having a connection with that person. Let's do the kind of the other side of the coin. Let's feel the feeling of where there is a connection. Same person. Where is there a connection with that same person? Feel the feeling of the connection that is there. Go ahead. Okay, that was a minute of feeling the connection with that same person. Who has a question or experience they want to share on that experiment? I don't know if what I'm about to say, this is a situation where I'm saying something out loud that feels like that hunch thing I was talking about, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. Here's what came to me. Is the actual connection I feel with other people, is it actually just a connection I feel with myself? I wonder. I've never said that out loud. I've never thought it. But when you were talking, Rusty, I thought to myself, oh, is it actually that I just am feeling more connected with myself when I'm around this person than when I'm with this person? I don't know. Um, I'm going to share, I think part of where that insight might have come from is I realized that the person that I was doing the experiment on here, you know what I mean? My insight was, oh my gosh, I'm trying to save her from herself and she's trying to save me from myself. Okay, let's look at the time. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. Um, we're gonna start landing the experiment plane. So um, here's how I want to land it. I already said some of this, but I'm going to say it again because I don't think I can say it too many times. Here in the lab, we try it on. We do it with other people. I find, especially when I first started doing this work, that it was more available to me when I was with other people, like exponentially more available when I was on this call than when I was by myself. I still find that to be true. It's just not as exponent. It's not this much more. I'm trying to make it fit in the window. It's still like this much. Like it's not like it's only that much more. It's just more available to me when I'm with other people for some reason. So I assume that's true for other people. That's one of the reasons I keep doing this. Um, my invitation to you is to keep coming back or to engage with the experiment in other ways. So I've started, and I'm so nervous about this, but I've done it anyway. I've started putting experiments out on Instagram, so it's just there if you want to do an experiment. I have a Marco Polo group where I do invitations to people to just to try an experiment. I probably do that maybe 3, 4 times a week. I'm hosting in-person versions, a 3-hour one coming up in February, a virtual one coming up in January as well, just to make this available for people. Of course, if you can't make those, my invitation is to follow the invitations that life gives you. And I think life is just chock full of invitations. And I didn't say this at the top of the call. I want to say it now. When I think about feeling your feelings, what I'm talking about is your emotional feelings, happy, sad, glad, etc. I'm talking about the really big ones like, oh my gosh, my, favorite aunt has cancer. I would put that in the like big emotion thing. I'm also talking about small things like, oh, my lunch is really tasty today. I'm talking about negative and I'm talking about positive. So big and little, negative, positive. I'm also talking about, that's in the emotions land. I'm also talking about feelings like hunches or goosebumps or the temperature of the air, right? Like, so they might be feelings, or the feeling of this mug might be tangible, might be more like goosebumps, which I would put in the land of in between tangible and not tangible, or the feeling of a hunch or an inspiration or an idea. So all of the above. When you define feelings like that, every single moment of your life is an invitation to feel something. So my number one invitation is take the invitations that get your attention. You can't do this wrong. If you never feel a feeling on purpose again, you're still feeling feelings. You're still doing it, right? So weird, so awesome. And my invitation is to notice those invitations and take them. Might be in traffic, might be in a session, might be before a session, might be during a fight, might be when you're afraid a fight is going to happen in your life, might be the next time you laugh. This is one of my favorite ones. The next time you laugh, if you have it in you to feel the feeling of laughing, it is something. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. So, but it takes a lot for me to be like, oh, feel it, Sarah, feel it. The first time I did it, it was great. It was great. So take the invitations. My other invitation is this. What I have found is running the experiment in my life, trying the experiment has changed my life in really unexpected ways. Keep track of the evidence that your life is changing. Write it down somewhere. I have a Marco Polo group where people will share the evidence that their life has changed. What most people find, myself included, is other people tell me how I've changed. I don't necessarily notice it. So pay attention when people give you that feedback. Oh, okay, that's cool. And there was a third thing I want to say. I usually have notes. I tried going without notes today. We'll see. I forgot a couple things. There are a couple things I've missed, I'm noticing. So anyway, thanks for noticing my lack of notes. Notice notice the invitations you get. Keep track of the evidence that it's working, and simply engage with this work in whatever way feels right to you. I'm always thrilled when people are here for the call too. So please share with other people. This is not this flew out of my mouth at my Minnesota MCE, and now I'm going to let it flow out here. A majority of the people who come here are EOS implementers, but here's what I said. It's not just for implementers. It's for normal people too. That's what I said accidentally. Mike Payton couldn't get enough of me saying it that way. So this is for anyone who wants to participate, and I'd be thrilled if you feel like you want to invite other people. With that, thank you for starting your Monday with me. It's been a joy.